According to some leaks from the Kremlin, the FSB is looking at targeting me and other MilBloggers like me. Just why is the Russian government seething so hard at us? And what can we do to keep the cope coming? I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. Let's talk about it. Okay, so this is a really interesting and for me slightly troubling statement. According to a leaked telegram that's been a fairly reliable source of information from inside the Kremlin, the director of the FSB, Bortnikov, has raised with Putin the question of the murder of, quote, Ukrainian bloggers who raise huge funds for FPV drones. Now, at first, of course, some pro-Kremlin Twitter channels were all up in arms about it, but then they all went and deleted the posts. Of course, there were messages, it says, from the same time on other topics, right? Of course, as this commentator points out, and the channel points out, this is nothing surprising. They've been saying it for a long time that anyone who helps Ukraine's resistance and is in public is in danger. But here's the thing. Try me, bro. I don't know what else to tell you. Don't get me wrong. I would prefer not to get killed by Russia. But listen, the Ukrainians, thousands of them, tens of thousands of these guys wake up every single day in the literal line of fire. So if you think this is going to slow us down, you got another thing coming. But here's the thing. Why? You got to ask yourself, why do they care about YouTubers, right? And here's what kind of worries me just a little bit. When you Google Ukrainian bloggers who raise huge funds for FPV and then add FSB, right? The exact quote from this, I was actually trying to find the original source. Literally, I'm the hit. So a bit troubling. But again, you'd be hard pressed to have a assassination attempt inside the United States. And again, it's somewhat disturbing, but it's a sign, again, that in this conflict, there are front lines that nobody ever expected. Just like no one expected on day one of this conflict, FPV drones to become a really decisive factor in the conflict. And yet here we are almost 3 years later, and that's the case. But also no one expected MilBloggers to carry the weight that they do. But in the social media era, they are expanding and increasing their capability in ways that no one expected, right? And you can see over a year ago, a Russian MilBlogger, Vladimir Tatarsky, was actually killed in a bombing. He died in a bomb blast. This was, let's see if we can find the date here. It just says more than a year old, which I know. But you could see he was killed in St. Petersburg Cafe at a fan meet and greet, and was a pro-Ukrainian MilBlogger in Russian social media. Of course, he was a crazy person calling for Russia to commit to a total war and extreme violence, including war crimes. Says, we'll kill one of his quotes, rest in power to this guy, quote, we'll defeat everyone, we'll kill everyone, we'll loot whoever we need to, and everything will be just as we like it. Again, you can't imagine this happening to a nicer guy. Again, the Ukrainian special services probably going after him as part of an effort to silence MilBloggers. The irony is, of course, that Russia can barely control its own MilBloggers. Igor Gursky, for example, sent to prison for making anti-government statements, basically criticizing the Russian military command for its high casualties and lack of support for individual soldiers. As you can see, that's gone great for him. But many other MilBloggers are basically told to get on board with the Kremlin's MO or get off the horse, so to speak. Get on board or get wrecked. And Tatarsky is not the only one, right? Another Russian MilBlogger was killed, in fact, after reporting losses. Russian MilBlogger has died, but of apparently, I can't say this on YouTube. Oh, by the way, guys, if you want to help me out, let YouTube know that I'm making real content, that I'm not one of these pro-Russian shills, hit subscribe. That makes a huge difference for me. And of course, if you're interested in supporting the channel, you guys know that if you can imagine when you have the ire of the Russian government, sponsors are not really in a hurry to associate themselves with me. So I depend on you guys, right? And, actually, what I did really is just sponsor myself. I created Strike Gum, the ultimate caffeine gum, the ultimate energy drink alternative. 0 sugar, 90 milligrams caffeine in every piece. Check out the 5-pack. It's better than an energy drink in every way. I don't know what else to tell you. If you've tried it, you know. And I see the data. 30 you guys, 1 in 3 people that chew 1 piece order more. So that tells you right there, this is the real deal, right? So link to both of those is in the description. Okay, so this other Russian MilBlogger, Andrei Morozov, who was a soldier on the front line in Ukraine, said in his last post on Wednesday that he decided to delete himself in order to help his comrades in arms avoid the fallout from his critical publications, which angered the military command. This is, of course, exactly what you would expect him to post if the Russian FSB was to silence a critic. Of course, he made the mistake, this was in February, of outing the fact that 16,000 Russian troops were KIA and 300 armored vehicles destroyed since Russia began its 4-month battle to take Avdiivka. Russian troops did capture Avdiivka at an absolutely eye-watering cost. Of course, Morozov's remarks drew angry comments from the top Russian TV host and several others who called for him to be prosecuted for, quote, discrediting the military. And several fellow bloggers blamed those who attacked Morozov for his demise, of course, implying that it was the Russian state. So again, Russia's willing to kill its MilBloggers, but usually their own people first. But there is substantial evidence that Russia is still out there willing to conduct some level of dangerous attacks on U.S. soil. And again, we've seen, for example, the fire at the Scranton ammunition plant, which has many hallmarks of Russian activity, as well as the Chechen utility worker who ended up getting confronted by a special forces colonel when he was installing utility devices at his house. Really weird stuff. So there's at least some evidence that this is credible-ish. But of course, I'm not going to stop. You guys know that I partner with Ukraine Aid Ops, and that we a couple weeks ago, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, they sent me a text. They said, "Hey, Paul, just a heads up, 22nd Brigade fundraiser's open." And I said, "Well, that's weird. You guys usually give me some context. You tell me about the unit. You tell me what they're doing. You give me some info." And I said, "But I'm like, they're a 501c3 registered in the United States, but they don't owe me anything, right?" But then it turned out they were following their OPSEC because the 22nd was in Kursk. So we raised a ton of money. You can imagine why the Russians are so very mad at all the FPV drones, because we raised a lot. Us and Warthog Defense together raised an absolutely, and Ukraine Matters. Ukraine Matters, Combat Vet Reacts, and Warthog Defense all working together to just absolutely get these guys everything they need. And you could see on their Twitter that it sure has happened, right? You can see literally we're looking at the last 17 hours, 18 hours. You are looking at, first off, drone jammers for Liu. There's the shout out for you guys, right? And we got a text from Liu just about a week ago saying that the drone jammers bricked 3 back-to-back Russian FPVs, saving the lives of at least 3 or 4 troops. So that right there is worth all of it. Oh yeah, and here's some stuff from the Kursk Fund, because it's more than the 22nd now. It's going to the Kursk Fund. You could see a Mavic, 11 FPVs, an NVG, a tablet, laptop, thermal, rangefinder, and more. Looks like there's some eco flows. Boy, we are out here contributing to the Russian economy. And I'm going to link, of course, to this because this is still open. I think this has expanded. And while it's notably the 22nd, I think they said this has actually expanded now that they've blown away their funding target. Now it's for all the units fighting in Kursk. And you can what I like about Ukraine Aid Ops is these guys post a ton. You see, they're all over the front line donating. And what makes it, what I really love is, to me, it's like accountability. You literally see, you're like, I know my donations are going to the right causes because they literally post with the troops getting the gear. The troops will post thank you messages like, hey, here we are in position with the drones you sent us. Thanks, guys. Right? So to me, you know, it's not getting siphoned off or going to some sort of God knows where. Right? Anyway, guys, that's all I had. Not going to stop, not changing anything. You shouldn't either. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers. Be sure to subscribe. Oh, wait. I almost forgot. Shout out to folks from combatvetnews.com, particularly James Sterling, Steve Moran, Doug Beck, Alan Knudsen, Bastian Hemmerling, Yanko Georgiev, all lieutenant tier members. Not going to forget about you guys. I appreciate you so much. See you in the next one. Cheers.